Hi folks, what we got here is a young horse, and I noticed a lot of people take in horses and they have young horses, and doesn't matter. What I'm going to show you is something that I do sometimes for certain horses. And I rode this horse once and he doesn't back up good. So I've got a little method I do, and it really works real well on some horses. And what I want you to understand, the point is first I do it on the ground. And when I do it on the ground, it's a different concept for a horse than when you're sitting on their back. A horse that hasn't been backed up correctly or ridden correctly, as soon as you get on their back, part of their brain says, here it comes, get ready, I'm going to brace up wherever they need to brace. So if you do it on the ground, I know it's never happened to this horse. That's where you get an advantage to show them what you want so you don't have to waste time pulling on their mouth. First step is just to get them to back up and let them understand what you want when you put pressure on. There's pressure. There's pressure. There's pressure. There's pressure. See how I didn't pop it and I just showed it, didn't make it, so I'll pop. Pop. Release when the feet move. Now I'm going to pick it up. There, horse made it. Now I'll pick it up again just to make sure horse made it. That's step one. That's over. All right, now this is the second step, and it can be saddle on, saddle off, that doesn't matter. Point is, I'm standing on the ground. So the horse doesn't know what's coming. My hand's over the neck and I'm working in hand. So now I'm just going to put pressure on until the feet move. Now you know there's a cricket in here, so that's kind of a clue what's going on. There we go. Now pressure until I can get a foot to move. There. That's what I call loading up. I can feel the skeleton start to move. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and get him walking backwards. And wait till he quits pushing on the bit while he's walking. And then I can put the other bit on. Now you got to know what this means is he hasn't connected the dots between my hands and his feet. You notice my hands are low. It's the same position I call number one position when I'm on their back to get their nose. His third vertebrae, he's going to bridle up. I'm just trying to get him to understand that I release when his feet move. That's what he needs to figure out. So to get away from the pressure, this is what he does. Turn the head left, turn the head right. So I just hold the pressure. Let him sort it out. Now I'll add pressure. He made it. Now I'm going to reach again. As I reach, he thinks. I put pressure on. He steps. Pressure. Step. Pressure. Step. Pressure. You can see his mouth and see all the wrong things that are going on. Offering less, asking, can't make it, pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release. One reason I walk them forward again is because it's a go-to. In other words, it starts to turn into a sequence. And it helps the horse figure it out quicker. Pressure, release. Pressure, release. Now he's changed his mind. You noticed how many, this is I think the third trip up here. So now I'm going to let his head drop. Takes a breath. Understands all it is me trying to tell him something. We're just having a little conversation. That's all there is to it. Now I'll start again. Here it comes, is what I'm saying when I pick my reins up. Pressure. Think. Here it comes. Here it comes. Don't worry about anything else, horse, except yielding to pressure. Pressure, release. Pressure, release. Now, I've got half the weight on my hand from when I started. Here it comes. Pressure, release. Good. Pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release. Starting to figure it out. I'm going to lay my hand here again because I'll be riding him later and get him to relax. Let him know that this is nothing to get worried about. Just take it easy. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Now, while he's thinking, I want to show you something because they got this unwritten law in granite somewhere out west. I don't know where, but if you have your curb strap above your reins, you're a dink, or your macate. Well, I don't care. I'm going to show you why I don't put my curb strap below the reins. Now you see where it's at? I don't like it because of this. After a while, the horse gets to flipping their bottom lip. So I put it up here. Now here's the part that I really need you to understand. Putting the curb strap above the reins, it does not turn into a curb strap. Meaning, like when you use it as a lever. It's simply holding the bit from going through the mouth. That's all it does. No matter how hard I pull, I can't use it as a lever. But it also saves me from going through the mouth. So that's the way I do it. Alright, now once you've got the feel going, the horse starting to move, he's connected the dots and figured out that when I pull, move his feet, you build on that, then you can put the bit on. Then it will turn into a lever. That'll be next. Okay, now we've got a slicer leverage bit. I'm still standing on the ground. So now I'm going to ask the horse to back up. He is now connected pressure and release. Okay, had I started off this way, I would have had to pull harder. This is just kind of a subtle thing and it may not ever come up in your career. But if you only have one horse and it's old enough to vote and you're never going to get another one, you don't really need to see this. But I want a lot of people to see this. And another one is if you get a horse from outside and it's kind of touchy, because nobody's going to tell you the truth. And it's kind of touchy, you might want to do what I did on the ground before you get on them if you're worried about them. So that's just something to contemplate. And I got to clear up a few things there. Somebody got a hold of me and asked me what kind of bits I use a Ramal with. And I think I've shared with you that the spade bit to me is the traditional thing that I have a lot of pride in. This bit right here is a slicer, which most of the people I work with, I tell them to get that because it's got the weight and it's a leverage bit. You pull, the curb strap gets tight and it works. So my own personal opinion is it doesn't qualify Ramal reins in a Ramal and braided and all that stuff. That way I don't have to have 20 pair, but it's just my own opinion. I really like a spade bit and I think you better ride a Ramal rein with a spade bit. The other thing is, the reason I got onto this and just elaborated on it was that in the California days, the Dons, their sons were the ones that were horseback and had all the silver. And they'd be out and they'd go out and check cattle every day, certain areas, and just for the sake of knowing, they would take the crew and they might clean a canyon. And they would rodeer the cattle at the bottom. And they would sit there. and hold those cattle for hours. So of course the natives were the holding herd, and the Dons, they went under a tree and smoked cigarettes and talked. And when they would stand on the ground and they would work that spade bit, and they would stand there and visit, and that's how they'd work on getting those horses light. And that's when they started taking some mane hair and tying it to the reins while they're standing there, because they're competitive, you know, young guys standing there. So this is an old California thing about how to get a horse to bridle up. But I use it for a cold-jawed horse or something touchy. And anyway, that's the background history of this deal. So we'll see you later.